Stop. Oh. Crazy. It works. How cool is that? Hello. What is up? Toss some chats so we can chat while I set this up. It works though, which is awesome. Play around more with some fun things than I expected. I didn't fully expect it would work first try, but it did. And open up the wrong thing here. Hold on. What time is it for you out there? I want to say good evening because it's evening for me, but I have no idea what time it is for anybody else. Is good evening sufficient? Good morning? Good afternoon? Let's see. Here we go. Oh! Boom. Alright. Let's go. Come on. Maybe you're like, what are you doing here? What are you building? Are you watching on the web? Are you watching on mobile? I'm so curious. I want to get some invites out to people so you can try this thing. 'Cause I think it's pretty cool. Seems to be working pretty well so far. Oh yeah. Oops. Oh, it works full screen. That's cool. All right, let's go. Let's share my screen, see what's going on. Whoosh. How much of my screen do you see? Too much of my screen. Let's move this a bit over this way. Perfect. And this one over. Yeah, perfect. Is there any way you can tell me you're out there? Here's what's gonna happen. So let's do this. Head over to, if you're around. Head over here. // dev. No. Head over here. Oh, it's the wrong URL. No. // There. Head over there. If you're around, you can head on there and you can click the buttons. Let's see if this. Oh, it's not working. There's no buttons. That makes sense. Let's just toss up something in Notion so we can have the ability to play around. should be one there. Refresh. I should have got that set up first. Oh, no? Still no? Today, include a time. What time is it right now? 37. There we go. Let's see here. There we go, okay. So head over to that link. If you head over to that link now, there should be a button and you can send some emojis across, which would be cool to do. You can send across a good old, make sure this is all working fine. It doesn't seem to be working. Let's give this a refresh to see what happens. Unless, you know what it is? I think I know what it is. Hold on. Yep. I know exactly what it is. There. Okay. Now will you work? Boop. Yeah, there we go. Head over there and send some emojis across the screen. That's it. Awesome. Hello, hello. I'm almost set up. I started a bit early to show my screen, but I'm almost set up. One more thing to open. One more thing. Which is I stream on both YouTube and Twitch at the same time in order to like chat with both. We use Restream. And they have a little built-in thing, which is handy. So I'm just gonna pop that over here so I can chat with everybody. Okay. I'm really curious if is anybody watching on Twitch on the? Oh, why isn't that working? Stream finished. Weird. Is anyone watching on Twitch on the desktop? And then I'm curious if you see here. I'm going to share my videos. It's going to get kind of weird, but I'm going to share my screen because this is what I'm building. I was kind of playing around with it. Oh, let's kind of play around with it. Do we see this thing here? I can make the window a little bit bigger and possibly even zoom in. Hold on here. That's better. So if you like hover, did anyone see this? Real-time cursors, did anyone see that? I'm really curious. So I'm building this plugin. I know you can, yeah, it's gonna be like this nasty level of nastiness here for a second. Actually, what happens if I pause it? Ah, okay, I can't use it if I pause it. So what I'm building here is this ability to, on my Twitch stream, see how my cursor is kind of hovering over it now? It's got my face in it. It's not released yet, which is, if you can't see it, either you're on mobile, or it's not released yet, so you can't actually play around with it. But when it is released, you can go to real-time cursors, and you'll be able to see your mouse, and then I'll be able to see where your mouse is on my stream. Or at least other people watching will be able to see it, and you can go and you can click on things, and you can kind of highlight where you're clicking. Now let me move this out of the way because I'm sure that's getting super distracting to watch. But what I want to do is, because that's real time and it's kind of built on web and like WebSocket technologies, I was thinking about integrating it into a couple different places. One being my desktop. So right now, like I'm looking at my desktop. If you click on the stream like that, I can't see it. One thing that would kind of be nice is that I can see where you're clicking, so you could be like, hey, Eric, you forgot something over this side, or click on this link, or that tab, or that's the place I meant, and that would be kind of cool, and I could see the blips about where you're clicking. The other place that I thought would be kind of neat is here. Let me open up a browser window and pop that in there. Is here. So right now you can send across these emojis across the screen. What would be kind of cool would be to see the cursors live of people who are hovering. I think that would be kind of neat. So you can go to streams.ericnansky.dev and you can click around and send across those emojis with me. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool if I could see, whilst you're hovering over on Twitch, hovering over with the mouse, I could see that over here as well, and also on top of my screen. I thought that'd be kind of neat. So this I've been playing around with a lot. So I might want to start this because it'd be somewhat simpler. I think it's going to be pretty easy to actually integrate. I want to get a screenshot too, because I need to get a screenshot in order to submit this extension to Twitch so that y'all can use it. And I want to add, you can like list a bunch of features. I want to add a bunch of features to this. Like what And maybe like change a few bits of the styles. I find it's kind of big. But yeah, what do you want to see? Like what kind of options? I can kind of do whatever you want on top of that overlay. So maybe like right click and you can like pin a YouTube video, enter and pin the YouTube video, or you can right click and pin, send an emoji or pin an emoji or pin a sticker. I have no idea what to do with it. I just thought it'd be sort of fun. So let's get integrating that into here and seeing if I can get a couple cursors to show up. A couple might be hard, but actually, what does it look like when I open two windows? Here we go. This is gonna get real weird. If I do a new window here. Okay, so I have one window open here and I have one window open here, and they both have my cursor enabled. Right? This one's enabled, yeah. And this one's enabled. Hold on. Is this enabled? Doesn't seem like it is. Except, there we go. There we go, okay. So let's see if I can get it to show up on both. Oh, come on. No. I wonder what it's not liking. So when I hover on this side, it should pop up on the other browser too. I wonder why it's not. Let me show you what it looks like in development. So that's interesting. We'll have to see. I don't know if it's like the limitation of the restrictions here. Let me see. So let me open up the developer rig. This has been like terrible to look at, by the way. It's super horrible. Go here. I apologize for the audio if there's like double feedback. Hold on. Developer rig. This has been like terrible to look at, by the way. Oh, I'm gonna stop sharing my computer audio for a second. That way, when I hear myself again when I open this, y'all won't hear it and it won't sound horrific. Extension views. Okay, no. I have to mute this. Hide this. Oh no, how do I mute this? Oh. There we go, okay, mute this one. And mute this one. Boom. Okay, good, so they're muted, so now we can see. So let's show this again. Show this again. Okay, so this is the live one. So you can kind of see I have a cursor over here, and I wonder if it's showing up on Twitch itself. Where is my Twitch stream now? Let's go back here and let's go to Twitch. The actual like effort to building this wasn't that bad. Oh, but the but it looks like it might be hard to debug if there's an issue. Yes, accept. Load it in, boom. Do I see it live on my other screen? No. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Okay, see? There it is. So my like zombie eye on the right is being synced with the live view on the left. And so I'm moving around and I'll click here, boop, 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 and you can see that it clicks over there as well. That's kind of the idea, is I can move around. Let me hover over my face. See, okay. So I guess the different scales kind of doesn't work super well. Probably have to do something with like figuring out the size of the screen and translating them down, which will be, I can fix that. I wonder if it goes the reverse way. So I'll come over here on Twitch, and yeah, okay. So do you see on my right now? There's a picture of my face syncing. I'll hover over my face here. And I'll click, oh, it always does this, going full screen. My mistake. Okay, that's awesome though. So why didn't it work between two Twitch windows? I don't really know, but it works between the dev rig and Twitch, which is great. Awesome, look at that. Oh, that makes me happy that this is something working. Okay, so I think what we'll do now, because I want to get this submitted and somewhat working, I'm going to work on translating it between the different sizes. I'm not exactly sure how that would go about working, but I can give that a try. Okay, so let's open up some code. Let's close this up. Don't forget, you can send across some reactions across the screen if you want to see, poop come out of my face. Boo, 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 boo. Just like that. Feel free. All right. No, it just seems to have a refresh there. Yeah, so let's open up the code. Open up the code here. I'll have to resubmit it, which is this one annoying thing about when you're building Twitch extensions is that I'll have to go into wherever it is that I manage the Twitch extensions. Here? Nope, wrong one. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. I need to find it. Here, alright. So pull this up. So you have to, in order to make changes, you have to like be in this test mode before you can go into hosted mode. And hosted mode is the one you need to be able to use it and test it like live on. So that's kind of interesting. It doesn't really work super well. It's just really annoying that I have to like come here, do some development, blah blah blah, and then upload it. Anyway, whatever. So we're on local testing, so I can open up my code, which is here. I gotta count a bunch of components, and I'll have to figure out how to translate the aspect ratio I'm currently on down to the aspect ratio of whatever, and match it up with whoever's viewing. Because if I'm scrolling around in here, and whatever this size of screen is, obviously, as we saw before, if the screen is much smaller on actual Twitch, then it won't translate well. So other people won't be able to see it. And if it's on my window especially, you won't be able to see it. So let's try and figure that out. So so here's my code. I can go into the developer rig, which is this thing here, and I can click this run backend. I'm using Next.js, so it's just going to run the Next.js dev server, and then it'll load up. So here we go, it's kind of loading up. It'll load up the most recent, and hopefully I don't have to remute these. No, okay. They're still muted. Good. It's just going to load up the most recent version of my files and load it up into here. So this is the most recent one that's running. You can see the icon changed because it's now running my local version. This one's always going to stay the same. This one's a logged in, someone who's logged in. So when you saw me actually do it on Twitch, that was my face there. And I'm going to work on the design. I think it'd also be kind of cool to post messages and pin messages, but anyway, one thing at a time. So let me open up the code here. And what I want to do is figure out how to translate, get the size of the window, figure out how to translate that down between transitions. So inside of my cursors object, this is the biggest component I have so far. It kind of takes up a lot of memory, actually. I have this funky thing. I'm using a tool called RoomService, which shout out to a friend of mine. Oh yeah, there we go. Send those emojis. Yes! I love people send emojis. Hopefully it wasn't just me. Send those emojis. Shout out to a friend of mine, Arthur. He's like, hey, use RoomService. It's super easy. I was going to use Replicache, trying to recreate something else, but RoomService is awesome. So you can just use this thing called use map, and this map automatically stays updated between multiple clients. And so all I'm doing is like tracking the user's mouse position and updating this and the code's a little bit complicated, but like updating this future or this shared object, I guess, on the server, and it pushes it off to different clients. So there's a bit of delay. Naturally, like if I zoom over here, there's going to be delay. Watch if I go like really quickly down below. So you can kind of see the cursors move, because it's a little bit of delay that goes like to the server and translate anyway. So let's figure out what I've been pushing into this object is simply, let me go back to like where I'm rendering it, and I have this interface for it here. User cursor. So I have like the user, which is either the Twitch user itself, because I can grab your Twitch user if you're authenticated, or just an anonymous Twitch user. So this is a way that if you just come to view, you're not actually a Twitch user, that Twitch will give you some sort of unique ID that I can use. And then the cursor position, the mouse position, whether or not that thing is clicking, and then some way to remove stale cursors. So like if you come on the screen, you're moving around a bit, and then you just stop, and you kind of stay there. If we had like, not that I can get that many people on my stream, but if we had like 200 people, and everyone just stopped in a different position, granted it'd be hilarious, but you would be able to see everything. So this thing here just allows me to say, if you haven't moved for 30 seconds, remove the cursor from the screen. What we need to do now is add onto this something like, I'm not exactly sure how this works, like maybe like aspect ratio. I also don't know what that would look like. Like maybe it's a multiplier, or maybe I can have it like dimensions. And dimensions include like a width and a height, which is a number, and a height, which is a number. So that way we can say, I don't know if we can calculate the aspect ratio, I guess, from the width and height of the dimensions. And then we can have like the source dimensions, which are the ones that I'm rendering this cursor on. And these are like the which are the source dimensions are these ones, the one where like the cursor came from. And then we have like the remote, oh my god, I'm getting so confused with this render terminology. Anyway, we have two dimensions. One is the one that I'm looking at, the like render dimensions, and then one is the one that I'm getting the information from, which is this one here. And so like, okay, we can do that. And I think this is, I have, where do we update this? Position is this, and set the position. No, okay. It's in here, we update it. Does anyone on the stream know about RxJS? I'm using RxJS to throttle the locations, because if I send, like every time you move your cursor across the screen, right, you get like so many events, you get bing, 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 a ton of events. And if I just send all those events to the server, and then we have like multiple people playing on that, there's gonna be a lot. So I'm using RxJS to throttle it. So the code might look a little bit messy. This map.set is what sends the data across, but I think in here is where I emit. Yeah, here we go. So data is saying, hey, dimensions isn't declared, so I got to declare dimensions here, which is a width and height, W. Let's set it to 0 for now, and height is at 0. Good, and then comma, so we don't break anything. Great. And now there's a hook. Do I have that hook in here? I don't. Okay, so get a hook called use window dimensions. React hooks use window size. That's what we want. So when we load up, we'll grab that window size with TypeScript, please. Here we go. And we'll use that window size. I thought I had this. I was pretty confident I had this, but maybe not. Maybe it was something else. Use window size.ts. Boom. Bunch of export this. Bunch of imports that are not missing, and I'll grab this from here. Boom. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we can grab the window size, and then we can start transmitting the window size paired with any update to that cursor. And that way, I guess you resize the image, resize your browser, and then move the cursor around, it's going to update that as well. So that's kind of what we want. So we go over here, const window dimensions, use window size, and we import this. There we go. And quite technical, like maybe what I should be doing is using this. I have this called a mouse pad here. It's a container component around the place where you like have the cursors, but so probably I should be using this one as the one holds the dimensions. But for now, it's fine. Window dimensions is sufficient, I think. It's the whole screen, anyways. If we end up adding more other features where you can like collapse that hidden zone for some reason and only allow hovering over certain spaces, then we'll have to do that. That's fine. So then this we can do window dimensions.width this way, and window, actually paste it in. Dimension, oh, what? Oh, that height, otherwise 0. So this is kind of odd because they could be undefined, and if they're undefined, we give 0 back. Calculating aspect ratio with 0 seems sort of odd, but that's okay, I guess. So that's also, okay, so that's the thing. Now we have this ability to calculate the dimensions of the two windows. And now when we render this thing, we have to kind of translate these positions based on these dimensions. Oh boy. Finding a point, scaling it down. We got to scale down a point based on the aspect ratio. So let's look at, first of all, calculating aspect ratio. Calculate aspect ratio. Let's look at that. I just want to know, every time I look up calculating aspect ratio, and this thing brings up like a bunch of just default ones, I just want to know how you calculate it. How to calculate the aspect ratio. Original height, this is okay, this is pretty good. How do we do it? How to calculate it, okay. Divide the original height by the original width, and then multiply this number by the new width to get the new height. Okay, but this is just translating between ones. So the ratio is the height divided by the width. Height divided by the width. So we can just do a ratio here, which is, we won't do that. We won't do that because that is just a bit complicated. But we can do that here. Do we care about doing it here? No, we care about doing it in the cursors here. So let's pass in ratio. We don't need to because we have the whole object, right? So this one has, we have it here, cursor, dimensions, like this. And we'll pass in, we don't need to pass it in because I think I'm grabbing it again in here. So my avatar, I have my cursors. Yeah, my cursor is here and then position. Okay, so I'm going to const dimensions like this. Oh dear. Dimensions and ratio. I guess I don't need the dimensions, I just need the ratio. Get the ratio. Equals to use memo. Using memos and time-saving hooks or memory-saving hooks here are really, really important to save renders. My cursor, there's a lot of rendering going on here. It's just like moving mouse across the screen and having multiple of those move at the same time. I don't know where we'll reach the limit on those possibly being out of control, but that's fine. So we'll just say, just in case, like if my cursor is equivalent to, is not equivalent to null, return my cursor dot dimensions dot height divided by the width. My cursor, oops, nope. My cursor dot dimensions dot width. Good, and I spelled my wrong here. There, and width, what? Height, dimensions. Oh, H and W, of course. Short forms always kill me. Otherwise, we can just return 0. So this is always going to be a number. Great. Let's console.log that number. Console.log ratio. I'm not exactly sure how to translate a point based on an aspect ratio, so we're definitely going to have to look that up. But for now, let's just see if we're calculating the aspect ratio somewhat correctly. Refresh all views. This is not the smoothest thing to work with. Follow, why? See, why is it not printing anything? It should be. Ooh. Nope, it shouldn't be. Because I don't have... What? Well, why now? I don't know why it isn't. What in the world? Come on, come on. Why are you not rendering here? Oh, yeah, there's a silly thing. No, that doesn't. What? And I'm running the back end? It's not using the back end? I don't know if I updated my manifest. Sometimes it... Oh, it seems to think that I'm in hosted mode, this is why it's annoying. So hosted mode is like when I've uploaded my static files and it's hosted by Twitch. How do I move that back? I don't want to be in hosted mode. Gosh darn it. Here, okay. Move to local test. There we go. So now I'm in local. I thought I was in local before, but I guess I'm in local now. So now when I do refresh, okay, now it's fine. And my front end is not running my back end. I see, I was running the back end, not the front end. It was all mixed up. Run the front end. Here we go. Run the front end. That's it. And now I should be able to get the aspect ratio out of this. Why are you not running? Is there an error? No. There we go, okay. And there we go, there's the aspect ratio, 0.562. So now with that, I should be able to translate, and I can open this actually in, here we go, let's open in the browser. So I should be able to see, this one's going to make it smaller, right? And so if I go here, you should be able to see it come on the next screen. And, oh, it's maintaining a certain aspect ratio. That's annoying. So you see how my mouse is here, right? If I go in this top corner here, it's kind of on the screen, but if I go way, way in the bottom, it kind of goes, I mean, I'm overlaying it. Move here. There. It's way off the screen. So we should translate it based on the window size. Let me look that up, though. I have no idea how to do that. So if I'm up in the corner and I start moving down, I have a point, I have an X, and I have a Y. I wonder if I just literally scale them back by multiplying them by the aspect ratio. Let me think here. Translate point using aspect ratio. Here we go. Translating points for images of different sizes. That's what we want. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of nasty. Just, where's the response? Where's the response? There's no response here? So I'm just... Okay. This is the... I didn't want code. Tell me what you should do. Tell me what we need to do here. What? Depending on where they are in the image. For example, in the top left corner of the element. I think we can always assume that the aspect ratio is somewhat the same. Is that true? Like, does Twitch always maintain a certain video aspect ratio? I think it does, right? Tries to be like 1080p, 1080 by 1920. It's just going to be the size of the window that's going to change. And I don't even know. Like, maybe we can just take the difference? No. Hold on. So I actually have to read this then. This looks freaking complicated. Okay. For example, the top left corner will be positioned relative to its own top corner. For those in the right will be positioned to their own lower right, and those central, yeah. Putting off the example I gave in a sample project, what is that? I don't want to know that. Tell me the logic here. Transformations between aspect ratios. This is always, I think this is reasonable. Go away. Okay, here we go. It looks to me like the vertical dimension is the one used for scaling. Okay, so vertical is always used for scaling. There's slight error there, it's only a few pixels. I'm not sure that the object size is mentioned. Okay, typically when switching between aspect ratios, the vertical field of view would remain constant, while the horizontal field of view widens or narrows to match the aspect ratio. So that's good to know. So we only have to modify. If we only have to modify the left hand, the horizontal, the x-axis, this is not helpful. When I capture a frame, because I think the aspect ratio is probably the same. Like, let me check actually. I can check by. Can I edit the context and change the size of this? Display resolution. Here we go. So yeah, I think if I change it to like here. Did it do anything? Refresh? I don't know. Did it change the resolution? Video resolution? Let's change them both. And then refresh. I don't know how to test this without like building the code and like putting it up to Twitch and shifting it. This is what someone said annoying because I can't resize these. If I like if I squish them, it just like maintains the aspect ratio. But the issue is I want to switch around the aspect ratio because I don't want this to. And it does the same thing for this one. Oh, does it? Yeah, it does. But I just can't scroll past it. It's annoying. Okay. There's so many cursors looking at myself a bunch. I apologize for that. Okay, it looks like the only way to actually test this is to publish it. Let me see the aspect ratios here. Oh, I'm not getting any. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, that console never works and it's super annoying. Super annoying. So this is always a 0.8. Okay, here we go. 0.56. This one here. 0. So it is different. Okay. So we have a 0.8 aspect ratio and a 0.5 aspect ratio. So how do we calculate that? I think we can multiply them? Or add or Let's just try playing around with a couple things. Maybe like multiplying them or adding them. Or we can just do adjustments, like what's the difference between the source width dimension and the current width. To say it was width, right? Height with an aspect ratio, if you're trying to maintain an aspect ratio, which I think Twitch does, then we need to just translate the horizontal. I don't think that's true. That can't be true. It's got to be the whole ratio. So let's look at like just multiplying these things by the ratio and seeing what happens here. Multiplied by ratio, and same with y. Multiply that by the ratio. Here we go. Okay, so now my cursor is like super far off here. Ooh. Oh, yeah, so it's like super far off, but is it like correct here? So now I've limited myself here to the size of this window, which is interesting. Not exactly what I wanted to do, because it's my own cursor. I only wanted to follow the aspect ratio if it's not mine, which I can do that by saying, I should probably just use a different prop than this, but, so ratio, we calculate it as, oh actually, we can just do it this way. If props.show cursor, which means it's mine, oddly enough, wait a second, that can't be true. I think it's always true now. Oh, no. I think it's just a bad variable name. Okay, return 1. So the aspect ratio is always 1 if it's mine. I'll just put a comment here. Fix me, change this name to is my cursor. So it's always 1 if it's mine. That way, yeah, there we go. See, like I'm always following my message in here, but it should translate on a remote. So if I go here and I go all the way to the end, good. You see how it's translating it? So like the screen on this one doesn't allow it. Even though I've traveled more distance here, it doesn't fully allow it over there. Now I don't think it's exactly correct. It looks like there's quite a bit missing from that ratio. So I wonder if, how would I actually go about doing this? So this looks fine, like 0, 0 is fine. As I go down, it seems like it really loses a lot of value. So maybe, maybe it's the like the inverse of this. It's like 1 minus this ratio. I had to open up both now. Whoop, here we go. So top is still seeming okay, all the way down. That's even less, it's like half. That's like half of what it is. So it's definitely not 1 minus that. We have an exposition on some plane, and we have an exposition on some plane that's larger. Well, actually we don't care, let's talk about y. So we have y and we have y. And how is it going to look if like these things shift? So this one, they move at the same rate. Oh, they can't move at the same rate because they can't travel the same distance. The distance between this one and that one is just some difference, and that needs to be adjusted. I think that's what we need to do. Like, we have our current dimensions at the window we're viewing. We have the dimensions that are sent. We're going to take the difference between the two of those, which will give us the amount like traveled, but then that only affects like, how is that going to work? Because it actually travels perfectly fine up until I've reached the limit. This one hasn't reached any limit. So you know what I mean? Maybe you don't know what I mean. Let's just take this out. Let's always return 1 for a second. Let's not do this. We're always returning 1. So here and here. So if I'm here, the rate of change is the same all the way down. Seems reasonable. What about sideways? The rate of change is the same all the way sideways, which means I can go off the screen. Which I don't want. I don't want to go off the screen. But it seems like last time I was getting, like, here's the off the screen part. It seems like last time if I apply the aspect ratio calculation, it shrinks it by too much. But maybe that's not true. So I'm just going to take a look. You can't really see where I'm placing my cursor on my other video, just so you don't get like a multiple videos in the stream. But it's about where my VS Code second line is, like the second ruler on my VS Code, right here. That's about on my screen where my cursor goes to hit the edge. So it starts going off the screen around there. So if I apply the aspect ratio now, here, what does it look like here when I go to the edge? Yeah, so it's like almost half. It's like a quarter missing of the width. Which actually, that sounds about right. So if I go to the end of my screen now, it should be close to the end of that screen. So it's still missing a chunk though. It's still missing a chunk. And this one's here as well, right? Like I'm at the bottom of my screen. It's only at the the quarters. So it's like shrunk everything up to like a really small size. When I didn't really want it to do that, unless that's actually what should be happening. This one seems to be working. Oh no, it's capped. It's capped in the wrong ways. Oh, I feel like I have to publish this before I can actually test it, because I don't trust that this like replication here is actually correct. Although the aspect ratios are different, so they should be fine. I wonder if if we somehow figure out the calculation of the difference in widths. Maybe as like a percentage, because it's like scaled. That's the thing, we just want to figure out what the scale is. Or maybe it's a difference in scale between my current aspect ratio and the aspect ratio of the remote thing. No sound, no screen, and going to bed, but go, Eric. Oh, thanks, Arthur. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so I gotta figure out, let's get that affiliate, yes. I'm trying hard. I think, I think we'll try that. I think we'll calculate the host aspect ratio and the remote aspect ratio, and take the difference of those two, and that's what we'll apply as a transformation onto the points. I think that makes sense. So let's go ahead and use the same, so const window dimensions equals to use window size here. Use window size, and then from there we can calculate const host ratio equals to use memo. Always memo those things because these cursors are going to be moving a lot. I don't want to have to recalculate stuff I don't need to. So window dimensions. I've also memoized the entire component as well and tried to render things that would change often as much as I can inside of the component, so it can handle a bit more memoized, less renders for the React cycle, deeper in the tree anyways. So return, so I guess we have to check I don't have to check that, we'll just do return window. I'll just destructure these things out because I don't want to do that. Const width height equals window dimensions there, and then we'll return width over, height over width, height or 0 because it's possible it's undefined, and then width or 0. There we go. What are you complaining about? Brackets. Brackets. There we go. Just to make sure that's correct. There we go. So we have this host ratio, and here we're calculating the other ratio. So let's calculate the host ratio, and then we'll do host ratio, the current ratio, the remote ratio, and then we'll calculate the difference, the diff, which will be, I'm not sure which one to go first, ratio minus host ratio. I guess we should also take into account that these should probably be absolute valued. I'm not sure that the positioning of each one matters. And then we'll calculate, and then let's just print, we'll go right for it. We'll calculate the diff of these, and that will be what we translate these points by. Hopefully that makes sense. I guess the issue might be that if this is 1, if the ratio is 1 and the host ratio is also 1, then we're not translating the right things here. But I guess we can figure that out. Okay, so here we go. I'm in the corner. That seems about right. Moving down, it's reversing, so it's negative. Okay. We'll math.abs this here. Maybe we'll just take this as the ratio. The ratio is the difference between the two. So I'll just go here, host ratio. Every time that changes, we want to update. So host ratio minus this one and math.abs that, just in case. Math.abs. I think taking the absolute value makes sense. So then we have just the host ratio. That's all we really care about, or rather just the ratio. And that way, if it's still just my cursor, I don't need to translate it at all. The ratio can be 1. And there's no modifications to the size of the screen. Open up that, open up this. Okay, this looks like pretty good, actually. Except for maybe it's the wrong direction. I've shrunk it even more. So at the top of the screen, If I move all the way down to the bottom, it's way too small of a translation. Can we invert it? Like just do 1 minus this? I have no idea what I'm doing. Just so you know, I'm not good at graphics. Oh, this seems better, but still not correct. So I'm in the top left now, and if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there's still like, I don't know, a quarter maybe of the screen that I'm not touching. And what could be causing that? What could be causing that? Okay, let's look at some numbers. Let's look at the ratio and the host ratio, and let's look at the window dimensions and the remote dimensions, which is going to be my cursor.dimensions. No, that's not dimensions, right? Dimensions. All right, let's check it out. Let's check this out. So there we go. So my ratio is 1, the host ratio is 0.5. Maybe that's why? We'll see. Okay. Oh, cannot read party dimensions of undefined. It probably makes sense that this is possibly undefined, so let's take that away. Bring this back, hover over here. Okay, so we have the ratio, which is mine, which is 1. It makes total sense that my ratio is 1, because it's my cursor. The host ratio is 0.56, which is also my aspect ratio, which is fine. There's the dimensions, 1280 by 720, 1280 by 720. Great. All right, great. So this is all the cursor that I'm rendering here locally. Let's get a cursor rendering from a remote source here. Actually, I'll just move these side. Oh, there you go. Side by side. Here we go. Okay. So now you can see that the ratio is 0.757, and then the host ratio is 0.56. So let's take a look at the window dimensions versus the remote dimensions. So here's the window dimensions, 894 by 720, and the window dimensions, the width is 1280, and then the height is 720. Okay, so it's literally just the width that needs to be changing, even though for some reason the height. So that means the height is actually fine. So do we calculate the difference in the widths? What does that give us? Difference in the widths is the amount of screen that I'll never touch. But then if I'm over at 0, right? I'm at 0 here too, without translating anything. So how do I adjust for empty space in the end, in one screen, but not another screen? Is by shrinking that space by a certain amount. Or it's by growing. Oh man, how do I do this? Mathematics and ratios and garbage. What in the world? I think this is probably wrong. Calculating using the aspect ratio is probably wrong. Oh, unless, maybe it's because, okay, aspect ratio allows me to calculate widths and heights properly. So if I given my, oh yeah, okay. No, that's not helpful. It's not helpful. So I already know that information. I was thinking like, if I can get the width, I can use the aspect ratio to get the width, but I already passed that width of the client. Okay, so what do we do then? Let's start working with the dimensions and the difference between the dimensions, because that's going to be, I think that's an important piece. And maybe, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to translate that, how to shrink that down. A picture would be good, actually. Can I draw a picture? Let me find a website to draw pictures. Anyone know a website that I can use to draw pictures? Let's see. Excalidraw, I think is a good one. Let's use that one. All right. So here we are. So I have on one screen some line. And I have on another screen the same thing, just shorter, like this. And what I want to do is say, okay, given some point on this line here, oh, I need to draw an actual point. Here's a point on this line here. Can I fill it? I can. Okay, fill this thing like that. There. right? So give us a point on this line here. I just want to translate that based on the size of this, like this extra size here. This is the extra size. This and this, between this extra size, and translate this to a frame that exists. Let me change the color briefly here to, I don't know, F5, F5, F5. Nope, F5, this way. F5, F, pink. There we go. To some frame here. Whoa, I didn't know I could do that. Okay, oh, no, 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 no. Just do a line. Good. Can I copy them? Oh, I can. Right, so then this thing gets translated to here. Like that. I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Maybe make the lines more clear. So I have this frame here. Can I shrink this? How do I shrink this? Oh, there we go. This one. This one. It's scale, right? It's just scale. So I just need some like scale factor to scale down the values after a certain point. Is that what I'm doing? Gosh, math. Okay, shrink this here, shrink this here. And then these two things, they translate to each other. So this connects to this one, and we use, can I be dotted? Yeah. And this one connects to, actually I'll just get this copy and paste it. There. This one connects to this one. And that means that this connects to some point here, which is roughly there. How do I do this? This is what I want to do. F5F. F5F. How do I do this? How do I calculate, based on two different widths and a position, this overflow? Once I go past this point, so this, I have an amount for this. Some things here. I have an amount for this, we'll call it W1. Oh, can I do subtext? Maybe I can. What's this? Oh, this is font family, code, normal, hand drawn. I see, okay. So I have W here, but I want it W1. And then over here I have W2. I have two separate widths. And the relationship between these two widths is nothing. There. How do I go about translating W1 into W2? Going the other way seems easier, right? Does it? Like you just add some factor on. Maybe this one you subtract some factor. So this one gives a position with it, an X and a Y. And you have to subtract the difference to make it here. Maybe it is that simple. Maybe it's that simple. So let's go and grab the window position here. We don't need the host ratio. We need window. I don't need any ratios. Let's get these ratios. No ratios anymore. Get out of here. Let's calculate the position. So I'm calculating position here based on the cursor just directly, but also let's include window dimensions. So we need to either add or subtract the difference between the dimensions that are sent and the dimensions that I have in order to get the position. I think that's exactly what we need to do. I think that is exactly what we need to do. So we'll go with const remote position equals to this. And then we'll go const remote dimensions equals to welcome viewers, hello. We're building something with numbers. It's got my brain in I don't know, tatters. I can't even think of words, so my brain's so wrecked. My cursor. We're trying to do the translation from a point on a width that's long to a point on a width that's shorter, and vice versa as well. Dimensions. So we have remote dimensions. We have remote position. Let's call this, instead of window dimensions, let's call it host dimensions, just so it's a bit, whoopsie, a bit easier to understand. Host host dimensions. There we go. And then we'll go const. We'll do width is, or no, it's fine. We can just do them fine. Okay, so the const of the diff of the width, let's call it wdiff. Wdiff is equal to, which one's going to be bigger? It doesn't matter because we can do subtractions. It's going to be mine, whatever mine is, the host dimensions dot width minus the remote dimensions dot width. Right? It's possible it's undefined, so we'll just take 0 as optional there, and then what is wrong with you? Oh right, it's W. I always forget this. And then we will return a position which is X, and the X position is the one that needs to be shifted, so we'll do remote position dot X plus wdiff. It might be minus. We'll have to figure that out. And the Y, I think the Y stays the same because because it's an aspect ratio that Twitch maintains, you'll always have the same height. I think that's the intention here. So we'll go remote position dot H. There we go. X and Y? Is that what I want? Yeah, X and Y. Oh, Y. That's what it is. Okay, so these should now be shifted a little bit. So let's see if I open up this one and W of undefined. How could it be undefined? W of undefined. So apparently dimensions can be undefined. Oh, because it's undefined. Yep, that makes sense. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll nullish coalesce this thing into an object that has W as 0. There we go. So now it's no longer undefined, possibly, right? Yeah. And that won't be an issue. Okay, there's my cursor there. Let's check on the smaller window. Whoa, I'm definitely doing the wrong thing. It like shot off the screen. I don't know if you saw that in time, but it like shot off the screen. Definitely the wrong thing. So here, no, what? Like 0 should be 0, man. 0 should be 0. Ah! That's what I mean. The scale, it's a scale thing. Where's the scale? I can't see the cursors anymore. My shared cursors. How far do I have to go to get this to show up? Oh, there it is. So when I hit the end of the window, it shows up here. Like I'm definitely doing something wrong. What is the diff anyways? Let's print the diff out. wdiff. What is the diff? Show me the diff here. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. 120 is the diff. Because the width is 0? This doesn't seem right at all. Hold on. This doesn't seem right at all. Welcome, viewers. Welcome. Welcome to me not understanding how lines and numbers work. I'm just trying to do this. I have this host width, and I have a point on it, and I want to translate that point to the same relative spot on a shorter width. Is anyone here a genius with numbers? I just can't figure it out. And I just messed it up super bad. So something has to be 0. I guess like host dimensions dot width is 0, or it's undefined because well, that'd be negative 0 then. Otherwise they're the same. The width and the width are the same. What? Let's console.log remote dimensions and host dimensions. Let's see what the difference is between the two of you here. And open up this one. Move my buddy around a bit. Burp, burp. Let's try and get close to 0. Just want to see what 0 looks like. There. Okay, so here's the object. So width here is 1280. Remote width is 894. So there should be a difference. It's relatively small, right? But for some reason, the width, host dimensions, and remote dimensions, or it should be negative, or 0. I think there's something wrong with this statement here. Oops, that's not what I wanted at all. This way, here. Maybe I was messing something up there, and it was always giving back 0. Oopsie. Here we go. Okay, move this around a bit. Right to 0. Boop. And then, that's better. 386. That seems more reasonable. So if I go here and go Okay, this is the problem, right? If this will work now, if I go all the way to the end. Oh, it doesn't even work like that. Do I have to add it in? How do I translate these things? What? So maybe I need to add the diff. To add the diff. So this is like blocking off. They're just blocking off a huge portion of the actual screen. Ugh. Okay, let me think this through again. There is some difference between the two of these things that's consistent. There's some like, I don't know what to call this thing. This has to be like a normal math thing people do. Translate from one number line to another number line, right? There's a transpose or something like that. There's some way of saying I have some width like this, some range of numbers, and I want to map those range of numbers to this range of numbers, and the function to do that. There's a way of doing this. Can no one on the stream help me? Help me. No one? How would I go about doing this? For those of you who are sitting here, if any of you are on a computer and care to pop over and send shit my way, head over to streams.eric@amc.dev. I just put it in the chat, and if you head over there, it's right over here. You can click an emoji, one of them is garbage, and it'll send it across my screen. And hopefully it's working. I didn't actually see if it's working. Yeah, it's working. See this crap coming out from behind me. Just for fun. Good. Okay. So back to this picture and trying to figure out how do I think the word is transpose from one range of numbers into another range of numbers, starting at 0. Interesting. Okay. So here's the thing, right? No, I don't know. Let me just write some more things down and see if it comes to me. Oh, everyone just immediately left. I was like, hey, send some poop across the screen, and people were like, I'm leaving. I don't want to do that. Or it's because I'm stuck on this silly math problem. So width 1 is always strictly greater than width number 2. That's a truth. That's a truth we know. So I need to create something that's like, I need to create some sort of function f of x, which is our point, x, what does it do? Well, actually what it does is f of w1, which then results in a position x of w2. Yeah, here we go. X of w1, which goes to x of w2. I know this doesn't make any sense probably. Some function, give it a point on this number line that transposes or translates. Transpose is not the right word. It's translates. Transforms to this scope. And we know that the threshold of this one, or the beginning of this frame, it lines up with the end of this frame. So we know that because there's an end to one of them. And this extra space, I think all we need to reverse it once it gets passed. Like once this position gets passed here, the x position gets passed. We just need to start subtracting. Do we need to start subtracting? It always needs to happen here. When we get to this point on this number line, if we have a point in this here, here's our point. Then we need to slow this down because there's some factor here. We need to, oh my gosh, what am I missing? Let me just straight up Google. Point from one number line to shorter number line. Point from one number line to a short number line. How does this work? Oh, that's not going to work. I want to go No, how do I even Google this? This is what I need to Google this. I want to look at translate point from translate x differing with. Let's see here. Translate x and y percentage values based on elements, width and height. Okay, so maybe this is what I want. When using a percentage in translator, first the width or height of itself. I see, this is not what I want. Because CSS is handling that for them, and that's great. I want to know the actual... Okay, here we go, okay. So use percentage in the translate property to use JavaScript. I see, okay. What? Percentage in the translate property to use JavaScript? Parent height is times 50 over 100. That's 50%. So do I need to calculate the percentage? Rockets, thank you, my friend, thank you. Arthur, can you help me out here? I know you're trying to go to bed, so maybe this is not the right time. But I'm trying to figure out how to. I have a point along this line here, and it's past the end of the point along this line here. How would I translate? How does I translate it so that this frame that extends past the end gets transposed into this frame here, that's within range? It's almost like modulo, I guess, right? It's almost like modulus. Like if, oh, but then we go back to the beginning. I don't want to cycle. I want to just at some point slow down the translations. So here to here, it's the ratio of growth is 1, but then it gets to this line and it slows down because the distance now is doubled or whatever. Yeah, it must be doubled. So we need to cut it in half once it's hit that point. So maybe that's how we do it. Maybe we just cut it in half. Maybe cut it by the difference. Cut the pace by the difference once we've hit that point. Does that seem right? Like starting here. So move the cursor at the same rate, and now stop here, and the rate now shifts to be slower. Here, but the same speed here. So on the source it's fine, but here it's actually translating to move slower. Does that actually work? I think that does work. So how do I get it to move slower? How do I get it to move at a different rate? Because I need to say, here is the x and y position you're supposed to go to, which is this one, but that doesn't exist. It actually should be over here. So it should be its position on this number line here. Oh my gosh! Oh. Is it difference between this one and this point? No, because I'm assuming that. Here's what I'm assuming. I think this is. I don't know if this is a correct assumption or not. I'm assuming that the distance between this one. Let me change the color to some rather random color here. Here, blue. Between this one here and this one here. That distance. How do we categorize this? Here. This way. Let's shrink this up so it looks kind of like a box. Good, and then we'll go paste this way and turn it down sideways so it also looks like a box. Right, okay, so these two distances right here, this one and this one are the same. That's what I'm presuming. That those two are the same. But maybe that's a false assumption. Because I should, at that point, be able to just diff them. But maybe only after it extends past here. So let's see if that works in the code. So I've been taking the diff always, but I don't want to take the diff. I want to take the diff. I want to take this if it's past the end. So if the position is greater than the host dimension, right? So if I say remote position.x greater than host dimensions dot, or it's host dimensions less the difference. Host dimensions dot, I don't know, what's happening here. Host dimensions stopped. Host dimensions remote position.x is greater than host dimensions.width. This way, this is also going to be, it's really annoying that these things aren't set to 0. I should probably just do that. Then we want to take, if it's greater than this, we want to do some sort of calculation. Remote position.x minus the diff, I don't know. Otherwise, just take remote position.x. Okay, let's try this. Maybe this will work. So as long as it's before the end, or that zone, right? So as long as I'm translating in, here we go, I'll draw a big square, in this zone, and I'll change the background of this one to, I don't know, pink, sure. So as long as my mouse is moving in this zone, I don't need to do any work. But as soon as I hit this zone, I need to start translating this one back by some amount. Yeah, whatever source comes in, I need to translate it by this amount, which is the same. Okay, all right. I feel relatively confident in this. So 0, 0 works perfectly fine. Head closer to the end, closer to the end, closer to the end. I think we got it. I think this is it. And then x and the y should be the same. Okay, let me just fully put the screen, go right to the end here. Right to the end. It's still off the screen, which I don't like, because it should, yeah, these don't look like they're translating at all. Doesn't look like it's translating at all. If remote position.x is greater than the width of the host minus the diff? Minus the diff? Like, is that what we want to do here? My goodness, what in the world? Add some extra brackets, I don't think I need them. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's, Okay, I just want this. I don't think that's right. Why am I going off the screen is the question. Here, translate, 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 slow down, slow down, slow down. It's not slowing down. It's not slowing down. Why aren't you slowing down? Let me see here if I can just check this out. Console.log. What are we actually trying to translate this thing to? And maybe I should print both of these things as well, just so I know. Comma, print an object. This is adjusted. ADG for adjusted. And this is the source for S. There we go. Where's my thing? There it is. Pop over here. So adjusted is like negative, whatever. So it's using the regular one. This one will never get to be adjusted. Oh, see, that doesn't work in the reverse now, right? Because in the reverse, we need to fully like project every value because the scale increases at a much higher rate. So maybe it's actually, because it is a difference here, it's not the diff, but it's the scale, like W scale, which is the host being the source and the remote being the destination. This one divided by that one, like the remote less the base of the width of my screen, and that scale is multiplied by that position. So that we're projecting either up or projecting down based on, it kind of as a like, it's kind of like speed. Is that kind of like speed? I wish I listened more or remembered more physics. So what happens here? So 0, 0, fine, not quite fine, but it looks like it's moving faster though, as opposed to slower. So maybe I have the calculations reversed. Oopsie. We want the remote position to be the source of that thing, and take as a fraction of the host dimensions. Does that sound right? So 0, 0, please be close to 0, 0, okay? Ah, there we go. That's what I wanted. So if I'm at this point here, it's 0, 0, pretty much right near the end. If I go right near the end of my screen, I don't know why it's kind of frozen there. Does it work? Oh, it's not translating anymore. Here we go. And then all the way to the end of this one, weirdly enough, doesn't. It kind of gets in a broken state here. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's it. There we go. So now the scale works perfectly fine. So no matter where I am, up and down works great. And then if I go to the end of this video, you can't see it on the stream, but I can see that I'm at the end of the other video. So now it's translating all of that work for that. Come on. Boom. So here we go. I'm at the beginning of that screen. It's the beginning of the other screen. I zoom all the way over, and I'm at the end of both. Brilliant. Yes. So now we can bundle it. Let's bundle it now. Now we've figured out how to properly shift the position so that no matter what aspect ratio or what size of screen you're on, you'll be able to see the same cursor location. That's what we want. So let's go to the code. Where's the code? So I close a bunch of things here we don't need. So close this, don't need it. Don't need this. Don't need that. We need this because we're going to have to upload some files. So files here. Good. I'm going to go to release. I'm also going to go to git add just to make sure we keep it up to date. Commit -m scale cursor positions to match window dimensions. There we go. Git push. And then we'll do yarn. Oopsie, I hit enter. Yarn release. And yarn release is just a custom command here to build and then bundle all the code into a zip file, just the way Twitch likes it. The unfortunate part about this bundling process right now and me uploading these is that I have a bunch of cursors or a bunch of like PNGs in there that are used as like if you don't have a Twitch ID, you can like use them as like this one here is a fist, you know, so whatever we call that, little picture to represent your cursor. And every time I upload it, like this thing, 47 megabytes. I don't need to upload them because I'm not hosting any assets on Twitch. I'm hosting them on my own backend. Nonetheless, I don't know how to like remove them. I guess I could go into it and like delete them and then rezip it, but here we are. Okay, GitHub, Twitch extensions, out, bundle, open. 50 meg. It increased by 2 megabytes. See this, or 3, almost 3. No, that's a little bit less than 3. So once I do this, I can use it live and see how that works. So use it live. I'm assuming that it'll just be fine anyway. Upload. Oh, I didn't click the upload button. It just takes a while to upload. So I'm doing the upload. While I'm doing the upload, I will go and reset the manifest. So this right now it says I'm running my own thing in the developer rig. I don't know if you can see this on the stream. But what I need to do is go over here and have it hosted on Twitch's developer situation. I'll test it in the developer rig as well, but just to make sure I didn't introduce any bugs, which is highly likely, it seems. What is everyone up to? All those people out in the Twitch world, just hanging out. This is going a lot longer than I expected. I just want to try this out before I get into playing around with it some more. Let's go, let's go. Upload, come on. It takes forever. One thing I did realize recently is I have this, oh, there we go, it uploaded. Okay, so now I can say next step, move to hosted test, yes, move. Great, we're all happy. So I'll refresh this. Oh, there we go. So now it says Twitch is hosting my files. Wonderful. I can go to the extension view, and it all still works perfectly fine. Let me just make sure it still works by refreshing all the views. Great. It's working perfectly fine. This is one of my favorite avatars, actually. So it's working perfectly fine. Now it's time to go over to hurt everyone's eyes as I go to my own stream while I'm streaming. Where am I? Twitch TV, this one here. And we'll see if I can get these things to translate, okay? So let's accept this, enable the extension. Great, so I got my cursor showing up here. Wonderful. For some reason, it doesn't let me translate it down to the rig, but I want to see if, I think this one here, there we go. Okay, so you see as a top corner, I'm scrolling down. I don't know if it's easy to see this or hard to see this. I can put a background on it. How about I do that? How would I put a background on this? How would I do that? How would I put a background on my whole screen? So I couldn't. So I'm hovering over my face here. Hold on, I kind of broke a bit. No, I didn't. Did it? Yeah. Hover over my face. It did. Back. Here we go. Hover over my face. Oh, it's not quite right because the height is not working. It's close though. So I'm off by a little bit on the height. Why is that? Why is that the case? Let's see. By opening up the developer console. Open the dev console. Get this baby going. Oh, it's hosted. And I took out those prints. Darn it. Because hovering over here should result in hovering over here. But it's just a bit off because the height of the video must be different. And I'm not taking into account the height. Come on, let's go. It also doesn't want to translate it for some reason on this video. Okay, there's a few bugs. There's definitely a few bugs here. Oh, here we go. Now we're translating. A few bugs. So this is my face, but I'm above it because the height is wrong. All right, so let's go back here, move to local test. No, I'm dropping below. I think actually I'll go to bed, is what I'll do. And I'll try again tomorrow to see if I can't fix it. And if I can fix it, I would love to get this up so I can play with it. That's the idea. That's what I'll do. Arthur, I appreciate you being here. Whoever else is out there in the Twitch world, thank you for being here for this short little ad hoc stream. I will see everybody. I'm not going to do an ending screen today. See everybody at some point this week as we push for affiliate. Bye 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 bye.